Hi, beautiful sisters, Lizzie and Shamai. Hi. Okay. Liz, please request to join the live. Just letting the ambiance sink in, raising the vibration, the frequency of the room. Miss you too, Shamai. Yes, it's been a minute since you've seen Liz. And yes, it's just a good day right now. Like it's been a good day. I slept in and so I'm like real relaxed. Like the energy is right. Like have some sage. Okay. I'm accepting. Okay, great.
Hello.
Yes, hello.
The Matcha Meetup.
The Matcha Meetup on Glow Get a Gab.
Episode 2.
Say that again?
I said episode 2.
Episode 2, like I'm proud of this. I'm proud of the space that we're creating for ourselves and for other people. And so yeah, I just am lighting some sage while everybody gets in here.
Bro.
And
I literally was about to do the same.
Yes. To just, like help cleanse your energy, raise the frequency of yourself so that you can really speak truth to power. Because that's really what we're here for.
Exactly.
So don't mind me because like my neck is kind of wet because I washed my hair and the water is kind of dripping.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Is the audio okay? You can hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you good. The lighting is good.
Okay, sounds good. Y'all could comment, if you're here from my story or if you're here from Gabby. Either way, we're glad that you're here. So I guess we'll start with the intros.
Okay, yeah. Let's wet neck. Yes, I know. Like, yo, I need a diffuser. Yeah. Okay, I guess I'll go first. Mm-hmm. My name is Gabrielle, and I am the co-host on the Matcha Meetup. Also, I specialize in affirmations, like all the good vibes, the positive energy. That's really what myself in real life is about, but also like on the media. Are you good, Liz?
I'm still listening. I'm grabbing my grabbing my book real quick.
Okay. And you all can check out my affirmation podcast, Glow Getter Affirmations. I just uploaded the last podcast, and that's episode 5, and that is about cultivating confidence in your crafts. You're the only unique person that's doing what you're doing. The world needs what you have to offer. They need your energy. And so affirm yourself to that space. And yeah, so check it out. Google, Spotify, Apple, and Anchor. That's what they're on. Okay. Yeah. So to you, Liz.
All right. Hi. If you don't know me already, it's obviously Lizzie. Y'all can call me Lizzie. Well, I mean, y'all already know. And channel, it's obviously Lizzie on all platforms. And, I just had to wear my bunny necklace to represent the bunny gang because that's what the family is called over there. But
bunny gang.
I have a few more things starting up. First off, thank y'all to everyone who has been messaging me about, man, I really need to get a facial. You do. Okay, you already know it's your favorite online esthetician, and if it's gonna be okay. So know that your facials are coming. The facials are coming. Yes. But that's pretty much it. And I'm another co-host on the Matcha Meetup. You're here, or how found us. I'm glad you found us.
Speaking of matcha, What are you drinking?
Speaking of matcha, I got this. Yeah, it's matcha, just matcha tea. And it's cold. It's just, I don't think
And it's not a latte, so no milk?
No, I don't think there's milk in it. So I just wanted to try it to see. It's actually from Japan, so we love to see it, and it's unsweetened. So I was possibly just gonna like taste it to see.
Yeah.
I just want to try for the flavor, so we could do that right now.
Oh, the variety! This is good.
I know. I wanted to try different. It's fitting for the Matcha Meetup.
Exactly. And will you be traveling where?
Tastes like this. Tastes like.
Does it taste okay? Does it taste good?
Need a little pizzazz. Just need a little pizzazz.
Little sweetener. I hope y'all are, even if you're not drinking matcha, at least like with the tea or water, your favorite drink. We don't do sodas in here. We do only high vibrational liquids. High vibrational liquids. I actually made a warm version of matcha, a matcha latte with cashew milk this time.
Okay.
So definitely a vibe. If you like cashew milk, then yeah, it'll be great. And I think that question was for you, Liz.
Yes, I am doing facials. I start if you all don't know, I go to Aveda. So I start in the spa next phase, and that's May, like middle of May. So that's when I'll start taking clients where I could actually like give you all facials and stuff. And obviously, gonna be practicing on like my family and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'm already giving Gabby facials and stuff. So she has what is it? Access pass.
Yeah. But when you travel up here, will you be taking other clients potentially?
Yes, that's what we're looking into doing. So yeah.
So coming soon.
Coming soon. So y'all, the glowing skin it's right here. It's right here.
It's here and now. Yes. Okay. So
the intro. Let's get into today.
Let's get into it. I love this intro though, but let's get into it.
Yeah, let's get into it. Oh, first, we already give, always the little disclaimer, just a little bit.
Yes.
But the Matcha Meetup is a conversation in a safe space that represents our mindsets, opinions, beliefs, and perspectives of the world as we view it right now, with new information that is subject to change. With that being said, let's get into it.
Yes, let's get into it.
Let's get into it. Today's topic is going to be about growing up in a two-parent household.
Yeah.
Two-parent household described with the traditional mom and dad living in the same home, all of us living in the same home together and growing up. Mm-hmm. That was just a little, definition for y'all.
Yeah. Okay, so would you like to start or piggyback off me?
You should start. You're hosting today, so
okay. Yes. Okay, so a two-parent household. Yes, like it's growing up. So many of our friends, like they either weren't in contact with their parents, they were growing up in a single-parent household, which is not a bad thing. However, having two parents in the same environment, it helps you see teamwork, partnership, different things that really help a family move more efficiently than a one-parent household. Like, and when we say more efficiently, like literally, like when you're young and there's like a lot of things going on, like having two parents to help pick up slack and go right off of it, like it's really helpful. And so that's definitely something that I saw and something that I want to emulate. Like, okay, having a teammate, having a partner in life, like past marriage, past having children, but having a true partnership, like that's just a beautiful thing. And we need to normalize that more. Yeah. Because partnership is something that should be idolized, quite frankly. So, yeah. How about you? What are you thinking about?
No, I'm just thinking about, I remember, like, to me, that was the norm. obviously, like, and then it's being taught in schools, like,
Yeah.
oh, your mom and dad, and, the different parental roles that each one plays. I know that, as I get older, I can definitely, like, I admire, partnerships, and it's like, okay, trying to understand how they work. And, I'm interested in the topics of relationships in general, especially when it comes to romantic ones.
Yeah, yeah.
But that's not to say that every partnership is a romantic partnership.
Yes, and let's break that down real quick. Let's break that down about like what we saw from our parents, but also what we saw from other different adults in our lives. And it's like, do you need to have deep passion and romance to have a positive partnership and build a strong family unit?
Honestly, I would say no, but it's like, I would say no. Like, at the basis of your question, no. But do I want that? Yes. So for certain people, I think it's okay. Like, certain people, they'll be like, oh, like, it's cool as long as I have somebody, it's two incomes, two splitting the chores, all this stuff, or whatever you want to do, whatever, everything it takes for a household to run. But I know that if I'm gonna be, living with somebody, and raising a family with them and stuff like that, I don't want that. I don't want it to be like a roommate situation.
Yeah.
Yet, with the different challenges of life, how your love is gonna change, like, it's gonna grow with wherever you're at. And obviously we grow, wherever we're at, but also speaking to a partnership, it may not look the same before kids, when your kids are like 4 versus when your kids are like 13. And then even when they're out the house, you know what I mean? Like, it should be shifting along with where you're at in the different stages of life. But to answer, the question at the basis of it, do I think that a good partnership, you need to have a romantic bond? No, because there's also certain people, like, it's kind of like when certain people, how they feel in relationships. Some people require different things to be satisfied and other people don't. So I think when you understand where you, like, what it takes for you to be satisfied in a relationship and what you want long term, like, I think that's where the basis is.
Yeah.
But speaking to that,
Communication?
No, not just communication, but I feel like right now a lot of people, their non-negotiables are, they, like, it doesn't speak to a bigger partnership. You get what I'm saying? Yeah.
I like that, like the level of sacrifice, the level of commitment that you have within,
Are willing
like,
to, yeah,
like, it's almost like in order to create a strong entity, a strong partnership, you have to look past the person and look at the partnership as a being in itself. Like, we protected this. This is what we like. This is what we're building. This is what we're moving towards. And especially for Black people, people of the Black nation, we have to understand that. We have to understand that. That will take us to the whole next level of building meaningful partnerships where we build financially, spiritually, emotionally, mentally,
together,
physically, together. Yeah. It's powerful.
Yeah,
it's powerful.
No, seriously. Do you think that, so I know how some people are like, oh, like, being a single parent, like, oh, it's impossible, or, oh, it's, you're like, not saying, like, essentially that less than, like, like, the child would get less of an experience, you know what I mean? Like,
Or like,
hard, or they're gonna,
so there's gonna be a lot to heal
really, yeah. And on that note, I don't think that just because you have two parents present that you can't come out scarred, or you can't.
Exactly. And present in what way?
Mm.
Because I could be physically present, but mentally, emotionally, and spiritually absent. So I say, if there's a man who's been married to his wife like so long, however, like, he has checked out of that relationship and the children see that, even though he's physically present, he's
Mm.
financially providing.
But that's it.
However, it's just like, how is he pouring in and being poured into? Because a
Mm.
lot of times, like men are holding a lot, and so
Mm.
it's like that vice versa. Like, how are children showing appreciation to their father? How's the mother showing appreciation to the father? Like, moving from there, and it's like, to really, like, we're supporting everyone in any aspect, and sometimes you need some in a different aspect than another. Like, you need some
Mm.
love, some
Mhm.
peace in that
Mhm.
sort of aspect. And so oftentimes it's like, okay, like, my children are fed, like, they have food on the table, like, let me go do whatever I want to do. And
Mhm.
it's like, no, like, we should be looking into the future of, like, what the partnership represents, and then what are our children going to look at from there. So, like, thinking like that, thinking more ahead of the game, like, really, it helps the mind. It helps the mind, and it'll help the family atmosphere, because, like, the children will be like, whoa, like, I can see that mommy and daddy are pouring into each other.
Mhm.
Like, that I feel loved and I feel full just by seeing and being that presence of all that love and positivity. Like,
Mhm.
that is it. Like, you don't even have to voice a lot of things. Like, a lot of things are unsaid. Like, communications between family, a
Mhm.
lot of it is unsaid.
Mhm.
What do you feel like is an unsaid truth in our family unit that we've seen from our parents, or that we all share together?
Okay, what do you mean unsaid truth? Like,
Okay.
break that down.
So when I say unsaid truth, I mean something that we all know is true. However, no one actually has voiced that. So we know that we all rock with each other heavy, for lack of, more specific words. But it's like, how do we show that without saying that? How have we seen that exemplified? Essentially, that's my question.
I would say in the moments that aren't orchestrated,
Mm-hmm.
all of us are together, and it's not like we forced anything about it. I think because we have a lot of, say, like family dinners or just, family time, but it's not forced.
Yeah.
It happens, and it's because we genuinely like spending time with each other. And
Yeah.
it's, hey guys, let's sit down at the table right now and let's talk. You know,
Yes.
because
Yes.
that's like no one really wants to participate in a conversation that it's like, okay, we have to talk. So I could definitely appreciate that about our family, and I think that's something that's definitely said with all, with our actions, where it's like we genuinely, can talk to each other, have a conversation, talk about, you know anything, and like, yeah. So I would say that that's something that's like, we don't really
Yeah.
discuss like, hey, we have really good talks, but
Exactly.
no, like,
Exactly.
we can have a really deep conversation.
Yes. And for clarification, who is we? Like, let's
Yeah,
break
let's
down, like, our
get
family in a
it.
little bit.
Okay, so we have our father and our mother.
Mm-hmm.
They're still wonderfully alive and breathing. I love
Mm-hmm.
um, and then you, Gabby, the older,
Yes.
the
The
oldest,
oldest sibling.
and then with
Uh-huh.
little child. We could break into that. And then we have our little sister, Nunu slash Vanessa. Love her too. And yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and then now our newest addition, Storm.
The family dog.
The family.
FYI. Yes. Who feels like? Do you feel like he feels like a little brother almost?
Yes. Like, literally, it's like, oh, go take out Storm. Like, like.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, that's our family. And oddly enough, I've always said this, like, I find it a really fascinating fact that we're all 3 years apart. Um,
Yeah.
like,
Our parents timed that ridiculously perfect.
definitely.
I still need to know the details. I still need to know the details of how, like, you timed that perfectly, you know? Yeah.
But speaking of,
Mm-hmm.
like, you know, oldest sibling, middle child,
Mm-hmm.
and youngest, let's break that down a little bit,
Yeah.
because like there is certain stereotypes or certain, you know, experiences that speak to the specific child, like how you fall in the family.
Yeah.
So, Miss Oldest Sibling yourself, you want to say
Yes.
something?
Okay. Yeah, it's definitely like being the oldest sibling, there's a unsaid pressure that's on you. It's kind of like, okay, you're sturdy enough to handle this right now, and I may be doing something else, or so like you watch your sisters, or make sure you all get there safe, or make sure now you are the one that memorizes that directions when you go to the
Mm,
corner store or something, you know, like things like that. And it's like, that's a lot of pressure to a certain extent, but also it's a lot of responsibility for someone who could be a little young.
yeah.
And so then that just grows, like the amount of responsibility does grow as you move along. And now, right now, at this moment, it's like we have built enough of a relationship. The relationship with my sisters has been that communicative and strong, where it's like, you all know that I'm an individual, and what I do may not resonate with you, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like there's nothing to show out for. I don't have to act a certain way or be the perfect older sibling, so I don't like taint you all or anything like that. And that was something that I would like battle a lot, especially also growing up in the Christian faith. Like that dichotomy together, it definitely made me watch my actions. And I think that's why I started doing a lot of things with career and with grades and always trying to be the best at everything, because it's like if I set the bar high, that means my sisters can get there too. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like, no, you have to go where your heart wants to go, regardless of like what someone else wants to do and what resonates with them.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like you can choose a whole nother trajectory than me. Why should I be trying to do the perfect thing instead of the perfect thing for me?
Mm-hmm.
You know? And so that's where it kind of can get a little disconnected. Like sometimes I would feel disconnected from myself and my path, just because I'm like, whoa, am I trying so hard to be perfect? And so that's a breakdown of like the older child like mindset mentality, at least that I felt like I was going through. It may be different for other people, but that needs to be perfect. Already being a Virgo, like so, like being a Virgo, a older sibling, like all that smushed together, kind of was like, okay, this is how you're going to get through your childhood and get to adulthood and be the best that you can be and successful in everybody else's eyes, without having a second thought of like, what's success to me?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. How about you? So, being a middle child, I know there could be a lot of tension of it.
People think that, you know, when it I think it's middle child syndrome. Don't quote me on this. I'm not a medical professional.
Yes,
These-
yes. Do the disclaimer.
but I'm pretty sure that's what it's called, or there was a term, um, you know, called that. But
Mm-hmm.
essentially, where the middle child is like the forgotten one, or, you know, because with the older sibling, it's like, oh, you know, with all the responsibilities, and
Yeah,
they become your third parent. Yeah, borderline. Yeah, I mean, we could break that down too, but I,
yeah.
yeah. So with that, and then the middle child is like, oh, you know, well, we still have a child, like, and not that we still have, well, obviously we still have a child, but not, it's deemed as you don't get as much attention or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously the little child, you know, everyone's like babying the littlest one
Yeah,
because
yeah.
it's the littlest, and, you know, yeah. So there's the stereotypes for you. Do I think that I didn't get enough attention or anything like that? No. But I don't think I got the same pressure as you when it comes to education or when it comes to succeeding. I don't think that was as big. Like, you know, we definitely had pressure, but in the same way. No, I don't think so, because like you foreign, so it's like, oh well, you know, Gabby graduated and Gabby went to college and Gabby this and that. So I remember also, I don't know why this comes up, but when you were 8th grade class president,
yes,
8th grade class president, and then
you were,
yeah, or yeah, I'm pretty sure I was. I was 8th grade president or vice president. The fact I don't remember, but essentially, I'm pretty sure I was president because I remember I did a speech.
So probably president, vice presidents don't do.
Yeah, I don't think
speeches. Okay.
So yeah. So yeah, I remember that, and then it was like a whole like, wow, like, you know, following your sister's footsteps, like that kind of thing, you know. I don't think that was, you know, said.
And what was the age range? Like when we were in Waldwick, what was the age range? Because 8th grade, that means you're about like 12, 11, 12, 13.
12, 13, yeah, 12, 13.
Or maybe 11 for you because you skipped a grade?
I think
Or 12.
I think just probably just then turning 13. Because I remember around the time I think I first got Facebook.
Yeah. So probably around the same time. Definitely around the same time. Yes.
So, so there was that kind of thing, and I think that's when I first realized, like, oh, you know, like kind of basing accomplishments a little based off each other.
Yes, and too linear, almost in a competitive but also in a loving way. So then it's just like, how does this really work if we're trying to grow a relationship with each other?
Because it's like, regardless, like I grew up looking up to you.
Yeah,
like,
of course.
I grew up looking up to you for sure.
Yeah.
And so I know, like, I can't even imagine, you know, how that feels. And you have 2 siblings looking up to you. It's just, you know, like I could see that pressure with like, I do, and then also mixed in with love, so you know that you want to be you want to obviously be a good role model or whatever, but you didn't like, you had to define that for yourself, instead of what everybody told you, like, oh, like you have to be this role model for your siblings. So but I honestly, I still feel like I'm, you know, I see that with Nunu.
With you.
Yeah, with me. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, I'm her older sibling. So I feel that older sibling energy with her.
Yes.
So,
completely. You know, maybe we should have Nunu join the live one day. Yeah, and talk about that.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about like her being the littlest and like how she feels.
Yeah.
Because, you know, there's definitely something like to look at, because we can grow up in the same household, same parents, same DNA, same genetics, same environment, same food, you know, and have a completely different outlook in life, a completely different outlook in male and female relationships, male and female roles. Like that dichotomy that we saw, the whole like how we would want to raise our own children or create a family environment, like what do those things mean to us? And it's like, that's why it's really based on your perspective and like what resonates with you, and not necessarily what happens to you, just like what you use, like how you use it as fuel. You know what I'm saying?
So okay, speaking of, let me ask you this question. How do you think seeing, you know, growing up in a 2-parent household, what was your takeaway on relationships? Like, how did it affect
this is a good question.
Relationships?
I always knew that I wanted one. I wanted a relationship. Like I knew that like that was something that I wanted to create for myself. I also, based on talks with our father, like, I also understood more the plight of the Black man and what he experiences and how that can relate to me, and how as the woman, what what is necessary for me to do to not only be fulfilled, but also to help fulfill what I have set out to do, or what I feel like my duties or roles are, to really create an empire in the life that I would like.
Mm-hmm.
And so with that, I think that I probably took that responsibility further than what we saw with our parents.
Mm.
However, it's still the same in principle. And there's something that also like sticks out to me. It's like Daddy would always say this. It's like love is a principle, it's not a feeling.
Mm.
And so
I say that.
I don't completely agree with it
Mm-hmm.
wholeheartedly, because I do feel like it actually is both.
Mm-hmm.
However, oftentimes love is dwelled upon as a feeling
That's,
solely, and
yeah.
not as a principle.
Like if you
And
don't
so,
feel
yeah,
love, then you're not loved,
yes,
and that's not
yes,
necessarily true.
exactly. It's not necessarily true. And so, having that balance, understanding that yes, you can move based on principles, but when you have visceral feelings, visceral like sensations and emotions and passion, like those things can help drive you, and you can use those emotions to propel your family forward.
Mm-hmm.
And so having those things are not necessarily a drawback. Sometimes it's just like, oh, when you're really in love, like you're going to lose, like you're just going to lose your mind. You won't be able to make good decisions, this and that. But it's like, no, you can transmute any type of energy. And
Mm.
so if you have a love energy between two people, if you focus it in the right direction, you
Mm-hmm.
can move forward and still be really passionate with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And so often, like society, movies, um how people talk, like will downplay, oh, young love, like it can't be old love,
Like you don't.
grown love,
Yeah, it
like
speaks to how people view maturity, and that age equals maturity, and that is
yes,
not true. And I know I've always said that
no,
no matter how
no,
old you are or how young you are, that doesn't equate to, or I don't even know if that's a word, but is it
yes, I
equate?
think so.
Or it's not.
Yes,
I be making it worse sometimes, okay, but it makes sense where it doesn't equal to
yeah,
how mature you are. So
yeah,
because I'm 22 doesn't mean that I'm 22 years mature. You know what I'm saying? I've lived 22 years.
yes,
That doesn't mean that I can't understand, say, a different concept in life that maybe older people older than me can understand,
yes,
and that
yes,
definitely speaks to the concept of love. And um, I think a lot of people, see that as, oh, well, they're not really in love, or they can't truly start or build a life. But also, it kind of also doesn't make sense, because on this timeline of age that a lot of people have set as the standard, so it's like, so you can decide what you want to do for the rest of your
yeah,
life,
yeah.
but you can't decide a future partner at 18.
Let that
You
sink
can't,
in.
let that
Does
marinate.
it add up?
It doesn't make sense. So it's like, oh, and you can decide to fight for your country and possibly die, like, that you're putting up your life for a country at 18, 17,
Yeah,
but you can't decide. Like, it's not making sense. And so when you think about that timeline that people set, a lot of things, they don't line up when it comes to the different expectations that people have at certain ages.
yes, yeah.
So yeah.
Ex- Exactly. And so, to piggyback off of that question, then for you, from as an observer of our parents' relationship, from the outside looking in, what have you taken with it? What are some pros and cons of how you would like to create the relationship that you want for yourself? And like, yeah, just dive a little bit deeper, however much you want to share about that.
Yeah. I would say I know that I see the benefits of a partnership for sure, and being like, yo, like I'm really here for this person, and like I know that, like, you know, like I'm choosing to show up in whatever way that is. Like I'm still choosing to show up, and I know I want somebody in all aspects to choose to show up for me the same way that I would choose to show up for them.
Yeah.
So I could definitely see the partnership and helping out. And even if you plan to have kids, like that's a whole nother aspect. Like I know, like I don't want to be a single mom. I feel like that's low key glorified, or you know, like especially where women are at in this. And let me say this. I know, like where a lot of women, how their headspace right now, you know, like will be diminishing a man's role in a relationship or how a man can show up. And I don't like that, because I've seen it. Like I've seen where, you know, having a father, it's important. And that's not to say that obviously with different circumstances, there may be like obviously where you have no other choice but to be like whatever the case is. So I completely understand that, but I don't like when it's like, oh well, I could do this by myself, and it's like, yeah, you possibly could, but do you want to?
Exactly. Is this ideal?
Yeah.
You think you can get everything out of life by doing everything yourself?
Like, do I want to be waking up at 3 a.m. by myself to be and never getting help, and never getting somebody else like, oh yeah, you could sleep in today, babe. Oh, like I'll take care of the kid for it. Like, what? You're gonna tell me that that's not something you would want? You know? So I just that's the part where I don't agree with, you know, as with, you know, certain women in today's society.
Yeah.
Today's society may view it like that, and I don't agree with that. But another aspect is, I know that I was telling you this, the triangular theory of love.
Oh yes, let's touch on this.
Yeah. I want to think and make sure that I'm quoting it right, but there's different.
It's okay. I have the iPad to
Yeah,
search.
okay, yes. Okay, can you search? Because it speaks to or it's either 5 or 3 things, or just search it up so that we could really break it down. But
the triangular theory of love.
Yes.
Okay.
Like compassionate. I think it's like
okay, yes. So would you like me to go over it, and then you could just bounce off like what you believe on it?
Okay. Yeah. Explain what it is.
Yeah, so the triangular theory of love, it's based off Sternberg. Mm-hmm. He named himself after figuring this out. So the triangle, so the points of the triangle, we're going to have intimacy, commitment, and then passion.
Yes.
And so when we have intimacy and passion, we're going to have romantic love there. Mm-hmm. But when we have intimacy and commitment, we're going to have companionship love. Mm-hmm. And if you have commitment and passion, you can have fatuous love. Mm. And when you don't have commitment, you're going to have empty love. Mm-hmm. When you only have passion, you're going to have infatuation. And then when you only have intimacy, you're going to have liking. Yeah. And that part, like, I feel like I have been using the word liking someone so lightly. Mm. But it's true, like, liking is an intimate relationship. Like, you can like someone on the soul of what they are, what they embody, but you cannot go further from there, and you still just like them. Yeah. So piggyback on what you heard and what you're thinking about it. Oh, but before that, when you have all 3 together, that's this part. Consummate love. So passion, intimacy, and commitment is consummate love. Yes. Yes. So talk about it. Consummate love is what I want. I want intimacy. I want compassion, and I want passion. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I want all three of them.
Commitment and then passion.
So yeah, commitment and then I was like, not compassion.
Yeah.
Well,
we want compassion though.
We do
we want compassion, but commitment was it.
Yeah,
yes.
But yeah, I want all three of them because I think that, that's where you have, the complete feeling of love and being able to experience all aspects of it. Because like that explained, I feel like it's different tiers. So you can have two and still be okay. And that's what I was speaking to in the beginning of this meetup, where I was saying how some people may only need like a companion.
That's true.
A companionship, and they'll be totally fine. And some people may, just want passion or, passion and commitment. They don't need intimacy.
Yeah.
They don't need to, go deep with their partner and know, different feelings about them and stuff like that.
That doesn't last too long. It could be fun, but it doesn't last too long.
I know. I'm just saying this is me.
But yes. yes.
Take some people. But yeah, I know that I want all three. So I want intimacy. And also, let me clarify, intimacy does not just mean sex.
No.
Okay. I mean,
that's the tip of the iceberg, quite frankly. You can be intimate and not even.
They think intimacy is active sex, and no. Intimacy can be. Personally, I feel like intimacy can be like holding hands.
Yes.
And like intimacy be so much more.
Yeah.
Than that. So yeah, intimacy. I know that I definitely need that. Like I said, I want all three. And so what I saw, that's what I was gonna ask you.
Yeah. What did you see?
I would say that personally, from the outside looking in, I think that we saw the deepest level of companionship. I don't know if I could say that I see passion, that I saw passion growing up. Yeah. And like, what I mean is like, also, like I saw, like our parents, I was saying my parents, like, and I too. But our parents, I would see them, show different levels of affection and stuff like that. But I never saw it being like I really want to do this, or like that. Not saying that they didn't, but like that level of
passion, like jumping on each other.
Yeah.
Yo, like this could be the end of. Yeah, I get it.
I don't think that I saw that level of passion, but I do know that like love is there for sure.
Yes. And the thing is, like, just as you said before, like relationships go through phases. And so maybe at this point in life, that's what what they need to begin cultivating. And so it's like, yes, it's ideal to want to have all three aspects of this love at all times throughout a long-term relationship. But quite frankly, there can be fluctuations, there can be fluctions, and that's still okay. There's still cyclic giving and receiving. Mm-hmm. So it's okay, like, if you may stay in companion love for a minute, or you may stay really in passion and intimacy, that type of romantic, fiery love for a moment. And then it's okay to stay in that commitment and that passion phase for a moment too. So it's just like creating the balance. And that's really what like a lifelong relationship is, just learning how to balance each other out. Mm-hmm. That's the beauty of it, like balancing each other out. However, it's really difficult to do that with somebody else when you're not balanced within.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. I was like, yes. Like, it takes a certain level of awareness to understand where you're at and what you need, in whatever stage of life you're in, what you need out of love or a relationship. It takes a level of awareness, and then even past that, it takes another level of awareness to check in with your relationship, to be like, okay, like, I think that always how we can I get like how you're saying we may not have all three and all at every single point in time, but I think what I'm saying is that I need is like I always need to be like, hey, let's check in. Like, you know, like, hey, how can we get back to that three?
Yes, yes.
Like, how can we, you know, what can we do? Like, oh, I see that, you know, one is a little slipping off a little bit. Okay, let's do something.
Like basically having a meetup, a monthly meetup. Like seriously, like it's that important. What checking in, you check in with yourself, check in with your partner, check in with your children, check in with your friends, check in with your family members, and it's like just popping in and being like, hey, like, is there anything that I need to do? Here's a way that you could pour into me more. Like always being able to maneuver and get better. And that's really it. And so it's just like when sometimes like we have been fed that there's going to be like this dating phase and we have to do all these different things then, and those things can stop after marriage. Or you don't have to still want to brighten someone else's day or do this or do that or be super intentional after there's already a ringer and all that other stuff. And it's like no, like life is ever learning and ever exploring. Like the relationship with yourself, you need to have the lifetime to really embrace yourself, let alone another person. You know, like you're gonna always learn something new. And it's just like so often I feel like we don't really appreciate the expansiveness of the people that are around us. And we think just because we're comfortable with them, we've been with them for 2 years, we've been with them for 3 years, I know everything. Yeah, he's that way, she's that way.
Yeah.
Like,
and
they're not changing, this and that.
The part about it is when you do that, you're just reiterating back to them, hey, this is how you are. You get what I'm saying? And like even deeper than that, everyone wants a sense of identity, you know, like how they identify themselves. And so, like if you're like, especially, you know, who your partner is, that can shape and influence your identity because they're constantly, you know, especially they're gonna be around you, you know, for a good chunk of time. You'll see certain things, but when you're constantly being reminded of like, oh well, you never do this, or oh you never leave the trash, you never take the trash out. So now it's like, dang, like, am I somebody who's always messy? Because, you know, like you get what I'm saying? It could influence, you know, different like thought processes that you have about yourself. And so, yeah, I think that's another aspect of relationships that I feel like personally that I saw where I don't think there was a sense of expansiveness. It's more so, it's definitely a big level of comfortability.
Yes.
Yeah.
Principle based.
Yeah.
Like
Which
we're doing this regardless.
Yeah.
I don't have to like everything I do. You know, and having that thought process, like, because that's not necessarily not true. However, I want to create a life. I desire to create a life, and I'm worthy of a life where I like what I do. Like I like everything about it. You know, I like everything about it, how it flows and all that. And so when you take yourself to another space, you're going to take everything with it. So even that partnership, that household, that family, that friendship, whatever, you could apply this to anything, honestly, and anyone. And it will definitely help and open your eyes and deepen your love for someone else.
I have another question for you.
Okay.
Like, because when we say growing up in a 2-parent household, that's obviously it speaks to marriage.
Yes.
How do you think that shaped your view on marriage and what marriage is? Like, I think we kind of touched on it with what we just talked about, and, you know, talking about different stuff. But yeah, like at the core of it, marriage, like, did you feel like there was a positive rhetoric when, you know, around marriage, or was it more like, positive or negative? Like, what did you...
it not necessarily anything positive or negative, but it's like, this is what you do. Like, you grow up and you will be married. That's just something that you do. You know, like, you find this person you resonate with, you all are the same religion, or you believe in the same things. Like, okay, then it's time to get married. Because you're not supposed to have intimate relationship or sex before marriage. That means that's something that's definitely a qualifier for this marriage. So that means you need to want to get married. And so it's with that, I believe that it could lose the depth of what marriage really is. That symbolic, that security, that stability, but also that surety and that flow. Like, the ocean is always moving. It's not stagnant. And it's very vast. It's stable. I feel as if an intimate relationship that's long term can be just like that.
Wow, that's deep.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. I'm kind of blowing my own mind right now because I never really vocalized that.
All the time. We had those moments.
Yes. Like, having an intimate relationship that is like the ocean. Honestly, you can't pour anything out that you can't pour into at the same time. You know, it's always flowing. But it's always the same level too. You know, so it's just like, it's there. And that is something that wasn't delineated. And also, I don't think the people that were raising us and that were around us had that verbiage to use with that. However, it was just like, marriage is something that is highly revered, especially in our family. It's very highly revered. Like, once you're married, like, this is something that you're doing. This is a longevity. You could just do that in your whole entire life and you're good.
Yeah. Like,
you're like,
at that point, level of success.
Yes. Like, level of success. Yes.
It's just even the fact that you're married and still married. Not happily, but the fact that you are.
But still married. I like that. Difference.
Not necessarily. Wow. Not necessarily. It's just the fact that you're still there.
Yeah.
So honestly, I know I have, and still working through it, but I definitely have a level of fear of marriage.
Yeah.
Fear of complacency. Like, yeah, the feeling of being stuck and being like, dang, like, I think I what's the word I'm looking for? Like, I strive to have like variety, like when it on an everyday basis. Like, I find myself, I can't eat the same thing every single day. I like, even 2 days in a row, I'm just like, okay, like, I need something new.
All right, run it back.
And like, even with myself with routine, like, I've had to adapt as far as where I, what routines I do and what like what a routine even is for me, because I'm like, I still need that flexibility. And so I think where my fear of marriage comes in, where it's like, well, I just have seen around me is very like, individuals being very comfortable, and I don't think that there's, or maybe it just wasn't talked about, but as far as deepening a level of love for the other person and deepening that level of love you have and continue.
Yes, and you're able to share. Wow.
So I don't know if, granted, like, I'm just an outsider looking in. So, who's to say that they, like, everybody around us who are married has those moments, and, it's just not seen. But also, I'm saying, from an outsider looking in, that's what I feel like was seen and hasn't been talked about either. Like that. Yeah. Where that being a high, I think it's more so like, no cheating, and as far as like with with marriage, it's like, okay, like, that's the main, like, nah, like,
but
that's
and it's like dwelling on everything that could go wrong in a long-term relationship and in a marriage, instead of how do you strive to create that solidness, how do you strive to create that right or that greatness. Like, instead of thinking of, okay, like the worst thing is cheating, the worst thing is pregnancy by another person, like the worst thing is all these other things. And it's just like, but like, let's normalize talking about like sharing with that person, being
maybe
intimate with that person.
not telling you how they feel.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, maybe the worst thing is just keeping arguments in, you know, that negative, because resentment, that joint is real. And I've seen some marriages where it's like, bro, they really low-key hate each other, but they're still there.
Yeah.
You know, where there's not that love and it's just that commitment. Like, I know I'm not leaving you, like I'm not going to divorce you, but is there that love there? You know, and I think so. So that's kind of where I just think I'm just, as I grow older and, you know, looking into more things, obviously, I as my knowledge expands on the topic and, you know, just talking to different people and understanding myself better, you know, I see where those different thought processes come from.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just find it really fascinating and really interesting. And I think that, I think it definitely was seen as something that you have to do. And
yeah, definitely a must, like a requirement.
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah. So
definitely. And also, to piggyback a bit, is like when you're, I know we like to say growing old, like with society and all that, but honestly, becoming new again and like having new thought, like every single year you're growing newer. You're not growing old. You're just having a new perspective. And so like as we continue to renew ourselves and our parents continue to renew ourselves, like we can get to a space where we create consummate love within ourselves. And so all we can experience is consummate love with every single other person.
Because you have that level of intimacy, you have commitment, and then you have that level of passion for yourself. Wow, that's a moment right there.
Consummate love within. That's the goal.
Yeah. And hey Momo. Hearts. But to say this, I think that overall, growing up in a 2-parent household is something that I don't take lightly. You know, that I'm grateful to have that experience and to have the fact that I saw, you know, 2 people come together and raise 3 wonderful daughters. And so I'm grateful for that. Like, I'm so grateful to have that example. And knowing that, just another thing that I want to leave with everyone, just because you may not have seen 2 people function in the same household together doesn't mean that you can create that for yourself.
It does not mean that at all. At all.
Don't let that be I saw her, like I saw my mom or I saw my dad, you know, do it by themselves and like they were fine and stuff like that, like, which is y'all, not it cutting off on us. Let me see if she adds in or if she joins in. Okay, cool.
So the Instagram live actually had like a timer on it because it was saying that I only had like 30 seconds, and so then it cut off, and so
Okay, so we were wrapping it up anyway. We're wrapping it up, but I honestly forgot my last tidbit, so you could go with your last tidbit and then I'll say mine.
It's okay. Like, what really is the point is just the importance of, yes, a 2-parent household, but you are leaving off on the point that you can create that even if you haven't seen it. Don't allow society, don't allow other people to make it seem like just because you have been in the environment of a certain type of atmosphere, a family atmosphere, that you can't create anything different for yourself. You're always changing and growing, and you create your reality in this life, and that can be a wholesome, loving relationship, period. And with that, it's like, to get to that relationship, you have to cultivate that relationship within. And that's the beautiful thing about it, and that's what I love so much, because it's just like, you can only go as deep with someone else as you've gone as deep with yourself. And so it's,
say that again. You can
only go the depth of the relationship with another being is always equal to the depth of the relationship with yourself. You cannot go deeper with someone else than you have gone with yourself. So that's why when someone else treats you a certain way, or says certain things, or doesn't allow you, or put walls up and different things like that, it's not about you. It's about what they've allowed and haven't allowed themselves to explore, themselves to discover, themselves to heal from. And so it's just like, we're really just all here on this healing journey, and that's really what a relationship should help guide you to, like that healing mode. Like, you should always feel rejuvenated. And so, wow. Yeah, that's a tidbit for me.
No. My tidbit, like I was saying before, but I want to leave y'all with the fact that, I know we touched on relationships a little bit. We're going to go a lot deeper into relationships, but speaking to growing up in a parent household, as that is an example of the first relationship that we saw, so the first romantic relationship, and just, first relationships in general that we saw. So that speaks to, tying in relationships and stuff like that. But as I said, you can create that with another person. So don't think that just because you didn't see it, or my parents aren't together, or whatever the case is, it's like, no, there's somebody out there who, regardless of how you were raised, will join with you to raise a wonderful family together. Like, I truly believe that for everyone. So yeah. I mean, that's that on that. That's it. That's the tip.
That's what we were here to meet up for.
Ooh. Yeah.